Hey there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. Now, I'm not sure that I can possibly explain just how excited I am today, but if I had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably up somewhere around the 22 or 23 mark because DJI just announced their brand new Mavic 3, and I've got one right here on the bench in front of me. Now, I haven't opened the box yet. We're going to tear into that together because anytime I get new tech like this, I like to open it in front of you so we can do an unboxing and explore together all the things that are included with the kit. So I'll get into that in a second. But before I do, I just want to take a breath and think about how we got here, because the Mavic 3 is one of those quads that a lot of flyers out there have been waiting patiently for the release. And ever since the Mavic 2 came out, there's been a ton of speculation and predictions on what the Mavic 3 would include. And I've done speculation clips as well, thinking about if I had the Mavic 2 as an engineer, what would I change to make the Mavic 3 better and more interesting and something that consumers would want. And in typical DJI fashion, that's exactly what they did. So they took the Mavic 2 frame and they thought about what could they improve? What specs could they change to make it more interesting? And they didn't just change one or two things, they changed everything. And on paper, this represents pretty much the pinnacle of flying today. Now, again, I haven't opened it up. I haven't flown it yet. I'm going to do that over the next couple of days. I'll be flying like crazy for a week or two with it. And I promise you there'll be other clips showing you video footage from it and talking about how the obstacle avoidance works, how the APAS works, all the things you care about. But in today's clip, I just wanted to unbox it, show you what's included with the kit, talk a little bit about maybe my first impressions of the product. I'll do the specification section so you know exactly what the quad provides. I'll take a closer look at all the components included with the kit so you get a real good understanding of the connections and knobs, the indicators, and things you need to know to actually use the quad. But I want to spend a few minutes just talking about the evolution of the Mavic series in general, because it really was in a lot of ways an incredibly disruptive technology. Because if you think way back in the early days of drones, DJI was building a fixed airframe drone called the Phantom. And I've flown all the Phantoms, I fly all the quads out there, but that Phantom series to me was really an impossibly good quad. It was just really stable in the air, took amazing footage, it flew really far, it had crash avoidance built into it. It was just an amazing quad. But the problem with it was a fixed airframe quad, which meant it was big. You couldn't make it smaller when you took it with you to travel. So I used to travel a lot with the Phantom series, and it was always a matter of sticking this big suitcase in the overhead compartment in the plane and taking it with me. So I had to think a lot about, do I bring the quad or don't I bring the quad? Well, they released the Mavic Pro 4.5 years ago. And to me, this quad was an epiphany. When I looked at that, I thought to myself, how could the engineers have taken that Phantom 4 product and shrunk it down into a package that was foldable, that fit in my backpack, that had pretty much the same specifications and flight experience of the larger quads in a tiny little package? And I've flown this thing like nuts. I've had it out every day. When it was first released, I still fly it. It was up in the air a couple of days ago, and I just love the quad. It's one of my favorite quads to fly. Well, a couple of years later, they released the Mavic 2, and I was lucky to be invited to the Mavic 2 launch event in Brooklyn. I sat down, and I remember it like it was yesterday. The big announcement was, we've got a brand new Mavic 2, and off in the distance, brrr, it comes flying in and lands on the pedestal, and everybody went crazy. And then we started listening to the specifications about how they released one with a 1-inch sensor, the Mavic Pro, and they released another one called the Mavic Zoom, which had a 1/2.3-inch sensor, but it had a optical zoom that you could actually zoom in on stuff. And I was excited, but I was wondering, like, oh no, what do I do? There's two of them. Like, this one's perfect for catching wide shots and doing amazing photography and video work. And this one is great if I want to zoom in on something, like if I'm flying around wildlife and maybe there's a snowy white egret down there in the marsh and I want to zoom in on that, I need this one. So I ended up buying both of them, and I use both of them for different reasons. But it's sort of like when people ask you, who's your favorite child? Well, that's an impossible question to answer because I love all my kids the same for different reasons. And the same thing goes for these quads. There are times I use this and times I use this, but it was a little frustrating that I needed two quads to do that. Well, with the Mavic 3, again, the engineers at DJI sat down and said, well, you know what? With the Mavic 3, we can make a removable camera platform where they can swap out cameras on the fly, and that would be a good way to give them choice for the cameras and have the same airframe. But why don't we take it a step further and build a camera that has both a beautiful lens and a beautiful camera sensor and a zoom? And that's exactly what the Mavic 3's got. So inside there, you've got the Hasselblad 4/3 sensor, which I think is the largest sensor on any foldable quad today that's in the consumer space. So you've got the biggest sensor on the market. It's Hasselblad, which is amazing technology. It's a Swiss company that DJI works really closely with that's got phenomenal specifications. So you've got the Mavic Pro on steroids with that Hasselblad sensor, and they also built in a 1/2.3-inch sensor or a 1/2-inch sensor that has a 28x zoom on it. So it gives me the best of both worlds. I've got beautiful capture of footage and videos up there in the sky, and I can also zoom in on my snowy white egret in the marsh. So it's got all that in there. But they didn't just stop there, because that would have been enough to make it incredibly interesting to me. They also made it fly longer. So this quad can fly 46 minutes, and that's amazing, not only because it's hard to build a bigger battery. And I talked about energy density on one of the other clips I did, where the bigger you make the battery, the more energy it's got, but the heavier it weighs. So it becomes this law of diminishing returns. So it's not just a matter of building a bigger battery, it's a matter of making the quad more efficient. On top of that, they've built in all kinds of advanced technology around crash avoidance, return to home functionality, automatic tracking, automatic crash avoidance when you're following somebody. So all those extra circuits and sensors drink a lot of electrons, which means you're draining more power from the battery. So how do you drain more power from a battery and give it longer flight times? Well, they've improved the aerodynamics of it as well, so it's got a different frame. The last thing I'll talk about is the advanced functionality, because one of the things I do a lot with these quads is I follow things. So if I'm driving the car, I'm driving a bike, I'm chasing somebody down the road when they're jogging, I have this thing follow them, and I need to know that it's keeping track of that person that's moving and understands what that looks like, but also has a real awareness of 3D space around it, because if it's following a jogger and there's a tree coming up and it doesn't really see the tree, it's going to crash into the tree. So what DJI did here was build in a very advanced obstacle avoidance sense where it creates a bubble, a 3D bubble around the quad that can go out to almost 200 meters away, and it draws a 3D map of the terrain around it, so it immediately knows if it's heading this direction and it's looking at a tree way out in the distance, it'll find a path around that tree, so it's not going to crash into something, but still keep track of that person it's tracking. So all that technology is built into the Mavic 3, and I think, again, the DJI engineers must sit down. And again, they're not looking for flash and bang and exciting things. They're trying to build features into their next generation quad that really matter to a flyer like me, that give me features and functions that are going to improve that flight experience out in the field. So I love the Mavic Pro. I love the Mavic 2. I'm going to fall in love with the Mavic 3. And again, I haven't even opened up the box. I'm just looking at a sheet of paper, because as often happens, DJI sometimes will call me and say, hey, Rick, we've got a new product coming out. We can't tell you what it is, but if you're interested, you got to sign these papers, and you can't talk about it until we release the product, but are you interested? And it takes me about a quarter of a second to decide, yes, I'm interested. Send me the papers, let's sign it. And then they send me a data sheet to explain exactly what the product looks like. So I had the data sheet a couple weeks back. I'm reading through it thinking, man, this looks really cool. And my head's going, my nerd kicks in. I'm thinking, well, how can that work? And how does that work? And I couldn't wait to get the product. Well, this morning I rolled out of bed, ding dong, the doorbell rings upstairs, and there's this mysterious white box on my front porch, and inside there's the Mavic 3. So now I've got it. We're going to tear it open together, and let's get into it. All right, so for starters, there's nothing on the box to let you know what it is except the serial number up here and some other information. So let me tear it open, get this blade out. There's one little thing there. All right. All right, so inside there, it looks like it comes with its own pack, and there are 3 versions of this coming out. So what I've got in front of me here is the Mavic 3 Fly More Combo. Now there's a Mavic 3 Standard, which doesn't include all the stuff I'm going to show you. It's a little less. It's got a single battery and a couple other things, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in another clip. And then there's an advanced version of it that's called the Mavic 3 Cine Pro, I think it is, bundle, where it's actually got the ProRes resolution from Apple in there, and it's got a solid-state drive built into a bunch of other cool features. So that's sort of like entry-level Fly More, which is always my choice. Go for the Fly More, and then the Cine version, which is really a professional quad. And what's interesting about this unit is they've taken a lot of the features that would normally be found on the really high-end quads like the Inspire series and kind of moved those down to the consumer space. So what you're getting here, I used to call it a prosumer drone, where it was sort of good for the average flyer and also good for professional flyers. I think this one's leaning more towards the professional flyer level, so you're getting a top of the line drone with this one. All right, so inside here, there's a bag covering the bag. And again, just to be honest, I didn't open it. You can see it's still sealed here. It's heat sealed. So let me rip this guy open. Oh, this is really nice. So this is supposed to be a combination bag. Well, not supposed to be. It is a combination bag that converts into a backpack, and it's also a shoulder strap bag. So again, first glance, it's very nice. It's got a very rugged material on the outside, looks water resistant. So I'm sure it's going to do a good job. If it gets a little bit wet out in the field, you'll be fine. On the back, there are 2 zippers. Let me open those up and see where they go. All right, pull those down. I guess that's how we open it up to a backpack. Yeah, there's straps in there to pull out for the backpack. So nothing exciting back there. Let's get into the drone, because that's really why we're opening this thing up. I got 2 clips on the side. Pop those guys open. And again, it's my first pass on this, so give me a break. All right, and there's the top. Here we go. Here we go. All right, and in the top of the unit, there's a zipper going around it. Man, they don't want anything to fall out of this. All right, I'm opening the zipper. There's a little flap on the front, too. Anything in there? Nope, that's open. All right. All right, so you can see the drone right there, and there's a big box over here. So let's get the drone out and take a look at that. And I'm trying to contain myself, but man, oh man, oh man, oh man. All right, so the drone has got a new strap assembly to hold the camera protector on, to hold the props down, and just really protect this thing all the way around when you slide it back in the bag. So what a beautiful way to hold everything together. Just give me a second to sort of drink this in, because man, oh man, does this look good. This looks fantastic. And this is unbelievable. All right, so we'll tear that open in a minute. Let's take a look at what else is in the box. All right, so there's a bigger box, and then there's a shelf, and under the shelf are 2 extra batteries. So it comes with 2 batteries plus the one that's in the quad. And these are a little bit larger than the Mavic 2 batteries. They're a little longer too, a little thinner and longer it looks like. Then there's, let's see, a charging brick. All right, that's kind of nice. And what else is in there? The controller's got to be in here someplace. All right, controller. So the controller looks like the Gen 2 controller. There's some desiccant in there. What else? Nothing on that side, nothing on that side. That top feels pretty heavy, and there's a zipper here. Let me open that up, see if there's anything in there. There's the straps. Okay, so that's the straps for the backpack. Anything in the side? Nothing there, nothing there. All right, let's get into the bag. If I missed anything, I'll go back through that in a second. All right, let's look at the controller, because I think this is the Gen 2 controller. This is the same one they use on the Mini 2, the Air 2, and the Air 2S, but they've upgraded it to OcuSync 3 Plus, or I should say O3 Plus, which is the newest version. And again, the joysticks are on the bottom. They pop on just like they do in the other 2 quads. It looks exactly like the Gen 2 controller, except for the OcuSync 3. The other thing they did with this, improve the live stream. So the live stream coming back from the quad is 1080p, 60 frames a second. So it's going to give you a crystal clear image on your first-person view. The quad will fly 46 minutes, which means it's going to be up in the air for a long time on a single charge. The other thing is they've improved the distance. So with the new OcuSync 3 or the O3, it can now fly 15 kilometers away, which is, I think in rough estimates, about 9 miles, 9.3 miles, which is way beyond your visual line of sight. So if you're flying it, don't fly that far because you're breaking the visual line of sight rules. But knowing I've got that strong signal means I can fly around obstructions, I can fly near trees, and not worry about the signal breaking up. So anyway, OcuSync tech there, or O3 tech there. All right, let's look at the batteries next, because I really am curious about these. These are 5,000 milliampere hour batteries, which have a huge energy density. And there's the battery. Okay, it comes through sleeping, because again, it's core technology that has to be woken up through a charge. So you get 2 batteries plus the one that's in the quad, which is really nice. Now the charger's interesting because it's a standard wall charger with it's a USB-C. There's a USB-C connection on it. So there must be a way to charge the drone batteries either on their own or in some type of hub. So we'll get into that in a little bit. And I wonder if I can charge it through the drone as well. That would be interesting to see if that were the case. So let me see if I can get this loose, because I don't want to break anything here. I borrowed this from DJI. Okay, that flap on the top snaps off like that, and it looks like everything just pulls off the front. Okay. Okay, give me a second here. Give me a second here. Oh man, this is gorgeous. This is really, really nice. Really, really nice. Oh, the arms are changed too. So the way the arms fold out is different than the original Mavic products. No, it's not. It's the same. Okay, they fold down and around like that. But one thing I can notice right away, number one, look at that gorgeous camera on the front there. So I've got the 1/4 sensor on the bottom and the 1/2-inch sensor on the top, which has got the zoom built into it. And boy, it looks very industrial. They've really upgraded the look of that. But one thing I'm noticing right out of the gate is that these arms look a lot thinner and a lot further out. And the props look a little bit different as well. I guess they're not that much different than they were in the Mavic 2, but I'll get into all that in a little bit. I'll do comparisons side by side, but man, has it got a good look to it. Very industrial look there. And the batteries on the back pop out like this, just like the old ones, so they slide in from the back. They don't go in from the top like the Mavic 2 do. And they've got sensors all the way around it. So there are 2 sensors up front, there's 2 sensors on the top, 2 sensors on the bottom, and there's a dual set of sensors on the bottom here as well, or I should say on the back. And those are binocular sensors. And that's important because in previous generations, they're using infrared sensors to the side, and those can get kind of faked out in really sunny environments. By having binocular sensors on there, it can zero in on a surface and draw a 3D pattern of what the surface looks like, and also gauge very accurately how far away from that surface they are. So using the binocular sensors really improves the ability of this quad to not only chase you through the woods, but also avoid trees as it's chasing you. All right, so there's the drone. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way here. Man, you're going to be in the air later today, buddy. All right, so let's see what's in here. All right, a bunch of manuals. That's going to be cool. I always recommend reading the manuals. I know it's a really boring exercise. I don't know, but sit down and read the manuals because there's always good information in there that will give you details on how to fly the quad, how to protect the quad, how to charge the quad, all that kind of stuff. Quick start guide, accessory user guide, warnings about the battery, and safety instructions. Again, read through all those. It'll give you a lot of really good detail. All right, what else is in here? I know what that is. Let's see what else is in here. Okay, got connection cables, which is kind of cool. What else is in there? All right, not sure exactly what that is. Let's take a look. Oh, it's a filter set. They built a filter set. They've actually got a set of filters for the front of the unit. So I'll tear into that in a little bit. Here's another charging cable. Looks like a USB-A to a USB-C. Okay, that was really nice. What else have we got? Looks like a ton of, oh, there's a ton of propellers. So you've got a 2, 4, 6, 8. There are 8 spare propellers. So that should be 2 full sets of propellers. And they've got connection cables for, let's see here, a USB-C to a USB-C to USB-C to micro, and there's one on the controller already that's USB-C to Apple. So no matter what kind of device you're using, a phone or a tablet, you've got connection cables for all those different types of devices. All right, let me get that out of the way. I want to look at this hub real quick. Is there anything else in there? Oh, a spare set of joysticks for the top. So that's nice to include those. I promise you're going to lose your joysticks. It's just something that happens because they're so tiny. And a guy like me that's got big, goofy fingers, when I unscrew these, invariably they're going to fall right on the ground and usually in the deepest grass possible, and they're going to be down there. I'm going to lose them. So it's nice they've included extra thumbs for the joysticks there. Let me get into this. This is the charging hub. Now, DJI has always done a really good job of releasing charging hubs that can charge multiple batteries in sequence. So I'm going to have to test this. I'm assuming based on the size of this charger that it's going to do, oh boy, I want to hit the drone there. It's going to do the same that previous generations did with their charging hubs, where when you connect it up, it's got intelligence built into the charging hub, and it's going to look at all the drone's batteries that are plugged into it. It's going to find the one that needs the least amount of charge. It'll charge that one first. When that's full, it'll move on to the one that needs the least amount of charge next, and then finally the third one. And honestly, with a charger this size, there's not a good chance that it's going to do simultaneous charging on this. So it's not a big deal. I mean, you plug it in, it's going to walk its way through the drones and charge them all. One other thing I noticed is there's a USB-A connection right here that you can use the included USB-C cable with and charge the controller and the batteries at the same time. Of course, when you plug all that in, it's going to take longer to charge the batteries. So you might want to charge that separately with a separate charger, or you could use it for convenience to charge them all together. And I think that's pretty much it. The only thing I didn't open was the filter kit, and I'm going to break this if I force it. So let me not force that. I'll take a look at that when I do the closer look. But that's everything that's included with the kit. And again, I can't speak highly enough about the engineers at DJI, because when they come out with a new product like this, it isn't just an evolutionary change where they've kind of tweaked a few things, changed a few things. Okay, the frame looks similar, but you've got bigger batteries, higher density batteries. It flies longer, it flies further. It's got better camera imaging on the front. It's got an advanced obstacle avoidance technology built in called APAS 5.0. So they've gone through 4 generations of APAS. It's also got emergency return to home capabilities that can sense 200 meters away that an obstacle's coming up, and it's going to plot based on its flight patterns away from you when you first flew it away. It's going to remember kind of how it got where it got and knows the quickest and easiest path to get back, because if the battery gets low, you don't want it wandering around the countryside trying to find its way home, because it's drinking electrons while it's doing that. So all of the intelligence built into this product really puts it in a class unto itself. There's nothing out there that looks like this. Now, if you stay tuned, what I'm going to do next is list the specifications so you understand exactly what you're getting with this product. Then I'll take a closer look at the drone and all of the accessories and explain exactly how they work together. And then I'll come back after I've had a chance to get outside and fly it a little bit with some initial impressions of the product, because I've got a lot of experience flying the original Mavic Pro, the Mavic 2, and a lot of other drones. I really want to compare the flight characteristics, the noise, the handling, all the things you care about as a pilot of this drone compared to the others. So I'll come back with a really short section at the end to give you my first impressions of the product. Now, I promise you there'll be other clips coming very soon that go into deeper details around the software and the flight characteristics and all the accessories for the product, and I'll do comparisons against other drones as well, just so you understand exactly what you're getting with the new Mavic 3. But stay tuned, we'll get into the specs next. The new DJI Mavic 3 features the first ever dual camera system on a drone that includes a professional Hasselblad 4/3 sensor delivering incredible 5.1K footage as well as crisp 20 megapixel raw images. The second camera is a 1/2 inch sensor with an astounding 28x hybrid zoom that allows you to pull in close for perfect framing. The drone is also available in a Cine Premium Combo version that supports Apple ProRes 422 HQ and includes a solid-state drive for storage. A larger 84-degree field of view helps you capture nice wide landscape shots without distortion and provides an adjustable aperture of f2.8 to f11. The Mavic 3 features a larger 5,000 mAh battery that offers an industry-leading 46 minutes of flight time on a single charge. This means you'll be flying longer and spending less time charging your batteries. The drone includes the very latest O3 Plus transmission technology that ensures a rock-solid connection up to 15 kilometers away, but should always be flown only as far as you can maintain a visual line of sight of the drone. This upgraded transmission technology provides a crisp 1080p point-of-view video feed from the drone to your controller. The flight performance of the Mavic 3 has also been improved and features an upgraded location algorithm that is layered on top of the GPS, Galileo, and Baidu location systems to provide quicker and more accurate positioning of the drone while flying. This ensures a stable and accurate flight plan even in winds up to 12 meters per second. The Mavic 3 also features an omnidirectional sensing system to help prevent crashes that utilizes the latest binocular imaging system and proprietary algorithms to ensure a safe flight. The updated Advanced Pilot Assistance System, APAS 5.0, allows you to fly worry-free while a drone automatically navigates difficult terrain. An onboard ADS-B system will alert you of any approaching aircraft so you can adjust your flight plan as needed to avoid any mishaps. Other upgraded features include a new Active Track 5.0 that can more accurately follow a subject through complex environments. This allows you more freedom when filming, knowing that the Mavic 3 can easily follow your subject while avoiding obstacles. Complete control of the Mavic 3 is done through the DJI Fly application, which features master shots that will use automated flight maneuvers to quickly produce a professional aerial video ready for sharing. Transferring your files is also easier with the Mavic 3 using the new Quick Transfer option over Wi-Fi.